What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here, and in this one we go over the Wolverines picking up a big-time commitment in the 2027 class, plus potentially some more good recruiting news coming soon here, as obviously Savion Hiter set to announce, but also potentially one of Michigan's top quarterback targets in the 2027 class. We give an update there, plus what Chip Lindsey and Wink Martindale said to the media as the Wolverines obviously started fall camp. Chip Lindsey goes over the quarterback battle, update on Mikey Keene's health, what he's seen from Bryce Underwood, and their expectations in the wide receiver room. Plus, Wink Martindale goes over the secondary, an update on Rod Moore, and also what he's seen from the Michigan offense, and also one defender who has completely changed his body. It's all going to be in this video and more, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so before we do go ahead and get into this video, I did first want to give a shout out to all of our channel members. I appreciate all you guys supporting the channel, as it definitely means a lot, and obviously everybody who is subscribed on the channel, everybody who comments and likes the videos. I appreciate all the support, and we are very close to 15,000 subscribers, so let's keep it rolling. Thank you guys all so much. But let's go ahead and get right into it here. And Michigan did pick up a commitment from the 2027 3-star interior offensive lineman Tristan Dare, as he has committed to Michigan. He chose Michigan over others like Ohio State, Penn State, Oklahoma, and others. A 6'4", 290-pound offensive lineman from the state of Texas goes to Southlake Carroll High School, and he is ranked 496 nationally on 24/7 Sports composite rankings. And he also joins now Luis Esposito in the class as the two offensive line commits in the class already, as the Wolverines did pick up many predictions here this past week. And he received an offer from Michigan on June 4th, and exactly 2 months later, he committed it to Michigan. And this is one offensive lineman who is on the rise. Wolverines are getting a good one. According to Steve Wiltfong of Rivals, his head coach, Riley Dodge, did say that he's highly intelligent, loves the meeting room, and I think athletically, when it comes to footwork and what he can do running and getting out in space, is as elite as any in the country. Super athletic kid that can really bend, and his ceiling is super high because he's a pup. He's made a big jump with his strength and weight this offseason, and he hasn't lost any of his athleticism. And he also did tell Sam Spiegelman of Rivals that, the opportunity to play at a storied program like Michigan isn't something a lot of kids get the opportunity to do. So I'm thankful, and I'm looking forward to being a part of Michigan's history. As far as putting guys in the NFL, they've had very touted offensive line groups, and from a developmental side, they have what I need. And also, you can't ask for a better 1-2 punch for athletics and academics. So great news right there. And then also, obviously, Michigan has their top priority target in the 2026 class, Savion Hiter, set to announce on August 19th. Right now, it's between Michigan and Tennessee, and obviously Michigan potentially might have the slight edge there, but that's not the only next commitment the Wolverines could be getting, as it appears the 2027 4-star quarterback Malachi Zeigler could potentially commit at any moment, as according to Sam Webb of the Michigan Insider, he did state that Michigan potentially had moved into the pole position, and also that he was potentially closing in on a decision soon, as Michigan is one of the top schools for one of the top rated quarterbacks in the country, ranked 95th nationally on 24/7 Sports rankings from the state of Louisiana. But he did tell the Michigan Insider that close is subjective. It's a term that can be altered depending on who's reading it and saying it. For me, that just means it could be within the next few weeks, or it could be prior to November. And also, according to Ethan McDowell of On3 and Rivals in the Wolverine, he did say that Coach Lindsey, a great guy, he's been honest and straightforward with whatever we've talked about. He knows exactly what type of quarterback he wants, and he also said he didn't care about ranking stars and all that stuff. He is the type of coach I can see myself playing for. And we talked about recently how Rivals Steve Wiltfong did report that Malachi Zeigler and Peter Bork have emerged as Michigan's top quarterback targets in the 2027 class. But Ziegler did say that, my timeline is now until the end of the year. And it seems like there could be some good news on the way here for the Wolverines. And we also recently talked about if Michigan can land their quarterback in the 2027 class early, that should help them, with some of these elite receivers that they'll be going after in the 2027 class as well. So just wanted to give a recruiting update right there on Malachi Ziegler. Then obviously the big one coming soon on August 19th with Savion Hiter announcing, as right now it appears to be between Michigan and Tennessee, with Michigan having potentially a slight lead right now, but they're still going to have to close that one out. And then fall camp has obviously started. The pads are now on, as they were put on this weekend here as we get closer and closer to the start of the 2025 college football season. And both coordinators for the Wolverines, Chip Lindsey and Wink Martindale, spoke to the media. We'll first start with Chip Lindsey, as there is a lot of question marks obviously on the offensive side, and he started by talking about the timeline for naming the starting quarterback. He said, I think you always want to know as soon as you can. That's the goal. I do think we have a good plan on competition and getting guys reps, more than just reps, put them in different situations. So for us, we're trying to rotate these guys, put them in all those different situations, see how they respond, and they're all competitive. They're all smart. They're all doing a great job when they get their reps, but when the heat's on you and you're in tight moments, who can run the team and make the best decisions is the key. And Chip Lindsey has been through quarterback battles before in the past, so he is experienced with this. But they said they're getting all the guys involved, putting them in different situations. He also spoke on Mikey Keene. He said that he's very good with the little things, dealing with the huddle, understanding communication, how to prepare, and he's helped with the younger guys as well. But he said if we're talking about a specific play, when I make a point, and then Mikey, who I've been with before, so it's an advantage for him, he might make a point as well. And then he also spoke on Bryce Underwood, though. He said he's very, very advanced for his age from a standpoint of, I think he had, good high school coaches. I think he's trained physically. Obviously, he looks the part. But really, I think the surprise for me, the football knowledge really high for a 17-year-old or a high school kid that just got here is pretty impressive. And right now, just learning the terminology and why we call certain things and so forth, there's been some learning process there, but the guy is a football junkie and he just loves to study football. He also spoke on the Michigan wide receivers, though. He said it's a little early in training camp. For us, we need those guys to take a step, though, and we also need to take a step at other positions to help them. Quarterback, offensive line, being able to run the ball like we need to. But I said Ron Bellamy does a great job with it. There's competition. They're rotating some guys, and also in training camp, you're still trying to figure out your team. These guys are good at these things, and when they're good at those things, try to get them to do them over and over and over. But he said, I think our goal is to have, in a perfect world, you want 6 guys who you feel really good about playing all the time and letting them kind of rotate. He also did speak on Mikey Keene's health. He said, he's coming along well now. Just when you go through spring with 2 guys and you start looking around going, wow, that's a lot of reps. We had to cut individual in the spring because too many throws in the reps and so forth. But now they got all the guys involved, brought in Jake Garcia as well. But yeah, he said, he's coming along great now. And also speaking on Jordan Marshall, Justice Haynes, he said they're both great kids. They're good players, both of them. They complement each other because they push each other, but at the same time, they're supportive. And he did say, they're both every down backs, in my opinion. That can be in their first, second, and third down. And then protections are good, and they're smart and competitive. Then also wanted to talk about a little bit of what Wink Martindale said as well, as he did state, that today's the first day we're actually wearing full pads, as he said that on Saturday. And probably one of the more weaker spots is the secondary for the Wolverines, but the safety position is pretty stacked right there. This whole defense is pretty stacked. Cornerback is going to be a question, though. Who's going to be starting? Obviously you got Zeke Berry, Jair Hill, and then the nickelback position is up for grabs. But Wink Martindale said, we're still mixing and matching, youth experience, everything else. It's a great competition, but I love the talent that defensive backs coach Lamar Morgan and all the secondary assistant coaches have brought in. But he said, I think you just find out as you go. It could be one guy one day, then all of a sudden somebody that you're thinking he might be a year away or 6 months away or 2 months away or whatever, and all of a sudden he runs all 4 practices in a row. But again, he just said it's going to be a great competition, and he said one player who has completely changed his body is Cole Sullivan. He said that the biggest jump you see is when you go on vacation, and I took my vacation, and then when you come back and see them, and a guy like Cole Sullivan has completely changed his body. But he said that's just an example. There's a lot of guys, and I don't want to stand here and list them all, but when I first came here, he was a 17-year-old kid that was supposed to go to his prom and graduation, but he was here playing in spring ball, and you've seen him develop since. Also spoke on safety Rod Morris, thought I could give you the BS answer. He's right on schedule. Matter of fact, though, he's right on schedule. What's the schedule, though? I don't know. But I said he's looking like he should be, or he should, because of the way he's been working. He's been working his tail off when he's ready. I talked to him the other day. I want to make sure you're ready, and whether it's putting him in bits and pieces whenever he's ready to go, you just don't know. But he looked good today in the walkthrough, and he also spoke on what he's seen from Chip Lindsey in the Michigan offense. He said it's way too early. You've got a really good quarterback. You've got some other guys that are battling for it. It's not schematically anything that we haven't seen. It's good stuff, but I'm not evaluating the offense. I'm evaluating our stuff, and they're just, going through things. He said we work together. He says, hey, I need to see this. I'll call it, and then the same thing, he'll do vice versa for me. And right now we're scripting practices, and obviously, again, they just put the pads on this past weekend. So that's a little bit of what Wink Martindale and Chip Lindsey said in their press conferences over the weekend as fall camp has started for the Wolverines, and now they got pads on as we are getting closer and closer to the start of the season. But with that, that's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more. If you are new around here, I greatly appreciate it. And we will see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.